Hey guys, Tony here, the Tony C. Davis Show, coming to you by way of Facebook, YouTube, also Raven International TV Network on Roku, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and we are here with Mr. Will Miller, Mr. Will's World. And guys, this is part two. This is part two. We had some technical difficulties on my end, and StreamYard is actually the first time I've ever used StreamYard. I don't know why I decided to go with it tonight, but I decided to go with StreamYard. It cut out on us, twice, and it may be something on my computer because then I try to go to Facebook on my computer and something's going on with it. So it may not be StreamYard, may be my computer, but again, Will, I do apologize, my friend. Definitely appreciate all of you, the people that came on. And I would say go back and check the first part of the video. I'll have to download that because I may have deleted it. I'm not sure. I was pushing buttons trying to get everything set up right. But I do have the recording in my StreamYard back office, rather. And so, again, Will, I appreciate you. Do apologize, my friend. Just kind of a recap because I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's the computer or StreamYard itself. Give us a quick introduction of yourself. Then we want to get back to the question we left off with. And again, if you didn't get to catch that first part, ladies and gents, I'll actually put that in the video on my Facebook page. So go ahead, Will. Appreciate you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. Just like I say, look, country boy from North Carolina, really big on family, really big on entrepreneur, big on motivation and inspiration. Just figuring this thing about life out and learning and growing during the process. That's as quick as I can make it.
Yeah, that's about as quick as you can make it. We don't know how long this is gonna last. But again, so I don't know if I asked you this in the first broadcast. I know we talked a little bit about motivation, but do you have a person you look to for motivation and maybe mindset training?
Anyone specific? No. There is a vast group of people that I've watched over the years. Zig Ziglar, of course, his notoriety. Les Brown. Years ago, we looked at some TD Jakes, and of course, currently you got the Eric Thomases of the world. And there's also another guy, his name is, I found him on Instagram. His name is Andy Frazella. He's like Italian or something. He has a different kind of name. But yeah, it's just, just like the everyday run of the mill type of people that I would click on YouTube or might follow them on Instagram and just get a couple of clips. I have friends that send me clips all the time, just like I share with you and other people. They send stuff to me. Some stuff I promise to be right on time. My families are motivators. My mother motivates me. My wife motivates me. They give me things to uplift me and keep me encouraged, as I go throughout my day. Because, you being a man just like me, there's times where it gets a little heavy, and you really gotta, figure out what you're going to do, or you know what you're going to do, but pushing through it and knowing that, you got a lot to take care of your responsibilities. So, like I said, no one very specific at this moment to honestly answer your question.
And I just want to say, and I know that was probably just a slip of the tongue because those guys you mentioned are not run of the mill, not Eric Thomas, Zig Ziglar. Those guys are great motivators. I'll just tell you a guy to look out for is Dr. Billy Allsbrook. Look him up, man. He's good. Okay. He's on Facebook. I connected with him. That's another great one to connect with. And so no particular person that speaks to you directly. So as you grow in your business, and I think we may have mentioned a little bit about the financial services, there's got to be somebody in there that speaks into you about that. And so before we go to that, talk just a little bit about your financial service aspirations. Well, I guess we should talk about the coach first. So, and then we'll go into the financial services aspiration that you have.
There's several mentors in the organizations that I'm involved with. They we go to conferences, or I might see some of their old YouTube videos. But the person, honestly speaking, I have two people in this business that have poured into me the most. One being the lady I mentioned earlier, Crystal Whitaker. We've been in business 15 years, 15 years together. And so she's like my right hand, when it comes to this financial services. And I had another friend, his name is Des. He actually lives down in Atlanta, Desmond Watson. When I moved to Atlanta, me and him, we got together and he really helped sharpen me in my skills and the things that I needed to perfect to make myself better as I present to customers, clients, whatever you want to call them, and just in the daily growth. So those two people overall, they're really close to me. The leadership, some of them are kind of distant, so I can't really be as hands-on with them as I would like. But us iron sharpening iron, feeding each other, calling each other, keeping each other accountable, that's what helps me in my daily progression. And I'm just speaking honestly.
Okay. And so, of course, you do have that support system. And as we, mentioned the financial service, you may not necessarily mention the name of the company. That's totally up to you. But
Okay.
let me just say, why did you pick financial education? Why is that important to you? And, why do you, and if you think there's a lack of, financial education around or available? I know it's available because a lot of people just don't recognize it.
Right. Um, all great points that you made because I actually went to school for business administration. The whole time I was there, I kept thinking, I want to be a consultant. So eventually I started looking into that. I was introduced to the company by a friend of a friend. So that's what actually got me involved because it was financial service. So they taught you about money, you get licenses and everything. So that's what kind of worked in the niche that I was in because it made sense to me because that's the area I was going into, and that kind of clicked. And then um, I'm trying to think of the other part of your question. Oh yeah, so the necessity of financial literacy is us as first Black people. We didn't always have luxury or access to information. I was watching a documentary a few years back with my wife, and they were discussing how in the 19 well, let me say this. I'm a licensed life insurance agent. Okay. So they were saying back in the 1920s, 1930s that Black folks weren't allowed to buy more than what would be able to put them in the ground. So if 1930, the average burial may have been $500, that's all Black folks were allowed to purchase. It's kind of like when they talk about that red tape and they couldn't get into certain homes and subdivisions because they were keeping them out. It was the same thing applied with life insurance. So that happened, and you have other people that are able to buy $10,000, $50,000, or whatever they could afford. And you figure in the 1930s and the 1940s how far that amount of money really could go. But yet, at the same time, we as a people were only allowed just enough to put us in the ground. And it's funny that it is, I don't know if it's a mentality, but it still exists, even though they're not doing it to us. Because when I talk to clients, they will actually say, you know, they would actually request the minimum. Hey, tell me how much is for 20,000, or how much can I get for 15,000? How much will 15,000 cost me? They never, and then I have to turn it around and do the education part because I'm not the type of guy that's just going to sell you something because based on what you can afford. We're going to look at your need. We do need-based analysis. So then I'm going to look at what you need and tell you the best case scenario, and then we work it back down to that dollar amount, but still with you in mind knowing, okay, this is what I need, this is where I am. Okay, so then I always like to tell a story to where um, it's a very simple process of what I do because when my grandparents passed away, I got my family together and I showed them a quick presentation of the rule of 72, which is called the banker's rule, and I showed them the DIME, death, income, mortgage, and expenses. So I did this on a flip chart per se. I think it was a poster board. It was a very simple presentation. And what the rule of 72 says is you take any interest rate, divide into 72 to tell you the amount of years it takes your money to double. This is also considered compounding interest. And at the end of my presentation, I always like to ask people, especially our people, to say, what if your grandparents knew this rule? And what if they at least got it halfway right? How different would your life be today? because a lot of us, sad to say, we don't come from money. We don't come from a lot of property. We're not getting passed down 400 or 500 acres. We're not getting passed down heirlooms of jewelry and priceless cars or super expensive cars. We're not getting that. You know, most of the time we might get a house and we might get a couple of acres. That's about the norm. But for the most part, a lot of people aren't getting anything. And we don't want to continue to perpetuate that. And like you said, the information has become more available because of the internet and because of people having access to websites now, and just the connections that people are making. Like, I've learned a lot from people on Instagram and things I've watched on YouTube. So the world is actually becoming smaller. Information is becoming more readily available. So, we're kind of eliminating a lot of excuses moving forward.
Let me just ask you this. I had logged myself out for a minute. Let me ask you this. So when you start talking about, as you were talking, I was thinking about all the things that I've heard as a pastor as it relates to, we're talking about insurance and financial literacy and education, but specifically insurance. I heard people say, well, I just want enough to bear me. But
Right.
there are other people who recognize that insurance actually builds wealth. And so
Right.
I know you all talk about that, and I don't know how far you want to go into that. But, when you sit down and talk to somebody about let's just say financial education, how surprised are you when you get kickback, or are you surprised when you get kickback?
I would say it would be the type of kickback that I get, because you're always going to get some objections. Most of the time, people don't want you to know, if they can't afford it. It might be a little pride, maybe a little shame. But the worst kickback I ever got was from a family member years ago who told me that they didn't want anyone to get rich off their death. And that sparked something in me, because I thought, sometimes kids don't always have the best upbringing. Okay. So, might have been bounced from house to house, might have been in trouble, might have been unstable. But I was like, if anything, all that child has been through growing up, let's say if it was a rough childhood, all the things that they've been through and you couldn't provide, or maybe, tooth and nail, hand to, hand to mouth, or however they say it. But what I couldn't do for you in my life, I at least could do for you in my death. And that's always been my approach when I talk to people. I don't say it to them, but in my mindset, I want to make sure that they understand that this is something moving forward. This is something for generations to come. This is not just about putting mommy and daddy in the ground. This is about the life that's left behind. Because I always ask people in the beginning of the conversation when we're about to do a policy, I say, when I say the word life insurance, what does that mean to you? What comes to your mind? Because I need to find out where they are. What is their level of understanding about what we're about to discuss? So whenever you talk to someone, find out where you are, because I don't want to just spill everything I know and then you just kind of, oh, okay. I want to make sure we're registering on every level. I'm taking you with me. You're meeting me right where we need to meet the entire time. So that way, at least at the end, like I said, even if you can't afford a $500,000 policy and we break it down at the end to 100,000, it's still better than just that regular old 20. So I always try to make sure they have a full understanding of the perspective of what this really looks like on paper and in real time. So when you're no longer here, because once you're gone, there is no redo. There is no, oh, should have made it 250. No, we got to talk. We got to have that conversation right now.
Man, as you were talking, my mind was flashing back, because I told you as well that I've done some insurance, and again, as a pastor, you see people, you try to encourage people to do something about their finances, and then when something happens, I heard somebody say something about this not too long ago. GoFundMe is not
Right.
it is not an insurance policy or something like that. So
Absolutely not.
that's a whole different conversation. I will just say, for anybody that has that type of attitude, you don't want somebody to get rich off of you, or I'll be gone. I've actually heard somebody say, we're sitting at a table with a guy, and his wife was there, and and I was just trying to help them do something, or prepare for whenever he's not around. And he said, well, I'll be gone. I won't have to worry about it. He said that with his wife, said that. So that just blew me away. But on to another subject, because this insurance thing could go another hour. But
couple days.
For you, and I think I may have mentioned this, or should have mentioned this earlier. But what is your goal? And if you have a goal, have you written that goal down?
Okay. I was ready for that question. I like that. So my goal, long range, is to live life on my terms, be where I want to be, and with who I want to be with. And I want to actually be able to, live life and not have to worry about the things that we worry about day to day, like, okay, check to check, how much you got to balance this, can't spend too much because this got to come out on this day, and this got to go out on that day, and this one needs that, and someone needs to borrow this. I want to be able to say, I'm the go-to guy. I got whatever you need. Call me. You can't get a loan from the bank? Call me. Your car break down unexpectedly? Call me. I want to be the go-to guy, the center of my family. Me and my wife discussed this. We both givers at heart. We love pouring into people when we can. And so my goal is to at least be, that guy. If somebody says, you know what, I might not want to call him. I might, he might have asked me last week, maybe asked me a month ago, but they know they can depend on Will. Even if I ever become rich and famous, some celebrities, they back away from their families, or you got to go through several channels just to reach them. I'm probably still gonna have the same phone number, but I want to be that guy in people's lives to provide for them. Because I remember growing up, my dad's cousin I was telling you about was a brick mason. I remember, he would take us out to restaurants, and it'll be a big group of us, and he'll take the whole check. And I saw that growing up. And back to your point about, entrepreneurs and business people, I saw that. And I was like, man, I want to be that. I didn't want to be the guy, in the crowd wondering who's going to pay for my plate, or is it still free, or I didn't know I needed to bring money. No, I wanted to be the guy at the front of the room taking care of 20 people. It's like, yeah, he with me. Yeah, she's with me. Oh, yeah, them two are with me. And swipe my card after everybody's done went through and got their plate. That's the guy that I want to be. And then overall, me and my wife have plans, to get into different business ventures and, do the real estate stuff and properties and things of that nature. But as far as people goes, I want to be able to help as many people and impact lives. And even with these videos that I'm going to do, and some that I've shared with you, and different things, and just nurture and feed and help people grow in the way that they want to grow or need to grow.
Well, I'm going to be the first to say you heard it here on the Tony C. Davis Show. So, brother, when you get there, I got it on tape. I got it on video. I'm going to be in that line.
Thank you. Come on, I got you.
Appreciate you. But, guys, again, I appreciate you all for coming back. And so, Will, as we wrap this up, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience? And, again, my deep apologies for the mishap that we have. But again, we appreciate you for coming back. And so, Will, I'll tell you what we're going to do is go ahead and let you just share some of your best advice, give a little bit more about yourself. If you'd like somebody to connect with you for some financial education, and I'll come back and close us out.
Some of my key points, I would say, is don't quit. I'm a big perseverance guy. A lot of things didn't go the way I planned in my life. So I always believe in just seeing things through and continuing. It's not going to be easy. There are going to be dark days. There are going to be tough days. But as long as you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, you're going to make it through. Definitely seek wise counsel, someone that's either been where you want to go, or get you a trench buddy that you can lock arms with to help you get through it. Just like in weightlifting, if weight gets too heavy, you got to get a spotter. Otherwise, it's going to be some disasters. So you definitely want somebody to either help you through it or guide you through it. Another thing is life isn't only about you. And put yourself in the position to help someone else. Like I just said, I want to be in a position where I can bring people with me. Some people actually call me the plug, when it comes to social media, because I got a couple friends and I'm always sharing their posts. If I see it in time, hopefully not too long, I haven't logged in a day or two, But if I see it come across my screen, if they made a little ad for themselves, something they're promoting, I try to share it, just to promote them. Just like this shirt I have on. This is my sister Krista's shirt. Rich Life, real individuals creating history, living intentionally for excellence. This is her shirt. This is not my shirt. I put this on to help promote her so people can see her symbol. Okay. Another thing, get outside of your comfort zone. This is not in my comfort zone. This is actually my first interview I ever done. You asked me to do it. I was honored to do it. I didn't even know anybody was paying me any attention. So I definitely appreciate you for allowing me on your platform to speak to the people, to share. And another thing that I also believe in, because we were living down in Atlanta, down by Lawrenceville, and excuse me, I started working in this warehouse with a lot of different individuals from different countries. And I started learning about different cultures, different ways of life. Some things you might see as stereotypical in a movie or a TV show or something. I started learning, some in depth of different cultures. So, get to know people that don't look like you, or talk like you, or come from where you come from. That'll definitely open you up, because I learned a lot of things, and some things I actually was able to apply in my life just based on what they taught me on how they grew up and how different their life was and the principles that they learned. And I had several hours of conversations with these people over several years, and just to learn and grow in different cultures. And another thing I would say, I think one of the questions you had asked earlier was about the power of mind. Everything starts in your mind. Your mind is your first battleground. You have to challenge yourself every day. You have to get past that alarm clock. Oh, I don't want to get up. Oh, here we go again. It's Monday. That drag. I can't wait till Friday. And I got to a habit where I said, I couldn't wish my life away anymore. And when I say that, you're at work, you clock in at whatever time, let's say 8 a.m., and now you're just hoping and praying for 5 o'clock. So now you've done hoped and wished this whole day away. And time is very precious. We've lost a lot along the way, and still more to go. But I don't want to sit here on Monday and I can't wait till Friday. Come on, Friday. No, I'm going to enjoy Monday. I'm going to enjoy Tuesday. I'm going to enjoy Wednesday. And like you asked me about my daughters, my babies are young. My oldest is 6, but one day she's going to be 15. One day she's going to be 20, and maybe going to college. I don't know how the world's going to be. She might be doing college from home. I don't know. But, and then they're going to have their own families if they choose. So I want to enjoy every moment that I can. And I don't want to wish it away. I don't want to hope it away. And then, I make the best of it as I can. And that's another thing with discipline. You make sure, about the goals and what did I do today to get closer to where I want it to be tomorrow. Okay, and you check yourself. So you write down your goals, you see where you are. It helps you evaluate, okay, I said by December I'm gonna be ABC. Okay, how far am I along on that? It's June, and am I at least halfway there? Because we're halfway through the year. So you want to have those checks and balances for yourself. And once again, get you a trench buddy or someone that can hold you accountable to that. If it's a spouse, if it's a friend, maybe in the industry, maybe not, but somebody say, hey, you remember what you told me in January? Hey, you remember what you said in February? How is it looking? Because I'll do that to my friends. I'll remind them, hey, how's that going? Oh, where you are with this project? Remember you told me. So we definitely want to get those types of things in place moving forward. And then, it'll help you. Everything helps in its own way.
Well, ladies and gents, that is Mr. Will Miller, Mr. Will's World. I want to just give a shout out to my friend Donna Harris. Donna, it's my season. Harris, good to see you, Donna. Hope all is well. They say, Will, I appreciate you again, man. Didn't know this was your first interview. So
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry it kind of collapsed at the beginning, man. But we persevered. We made it work.
Yeah.
So, guys, again,
Yes,
check out Will. Now, you're not here on Facebook, but are you on Instagram? Well, I
yes.
know you're on Instagram. For those that can somebody find you on Instagram?
Yes, sir. It's Mr. underscore Wills, WILLZ underscore world. And the same name is on YouTube as well.
Well, guys, look him up, Mr. Wills Miller. Thanks a lot, ladies and gents. And again, appreciate those of you that came back. Tony C. Davis here with the Tony C. Davis Show Hope you all have a great evening. And in the words of one of my friends, Mr. Willis Wright, I'll see you at the top or from the top, because the bottom is definitely way too crowded. Y'all have a blessed one.